like Eclipse made a really cool like above overlay and stuff like that. So, um, but
Specifically for your interviews?
mhm, yep, it's like a neon screen or a neon sign above that says Yanni After Dark. Um, no, it'll look really cool. I'll be super excited to get everything kind of set up. Um, but okay. Um, all right, so we can go ahead and just well, actually, I was gonna say get started, but we'll I forgot we wait just a minute or two for people to hop on in. So, did you get everything moved yet?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually possibly gonna buy a house now. It's all
Awesome.
just kind of tentative. I mean, I don't know what's going on, honestly.
Oh, I
But I'm
gotcha.
looking at houses anyway.
Oh, cool.
So,
Are
yeah, it would be cool.
are houses expensive out there?
Yes, they are. Compared to where I grew up, absolutely.
Where did you grow up?
I grew
If
up in Alabama.
oh, okay. Okay. How
So,
did
yeah, you get so much more for your money there.
Yeah, no, definitely. Any I don't know what you want to call it, but it seems like Midwestern or areas that are heavily agrarian, like I know everybody jokes about, Ohio and fields of corn and stuff like that, but honestly, like you could get, like 80 acres for an apartment in New York.
Yeah.
Like so um but let's see. Uh, like I said, I don't want to I just check in chat real quick. Um if you don't mind me asking though, just kind of I guess in a roundabout way, I've always been kind of curious. So how did you get to know the family plays?
I moved here in the Air Force actually.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
And so I worked with EPG's dad
Oh,
and Mini
cool.
Op's dad. And it's just it's like the typical like you find out like who games and who doesn't pretty quickly.
Right.
And he just heard from like all the younger people that apparently I was pretty good at some of these games, and so he mentioned that they play as well. Just started playing League together, and yeah, that's pretty much how it ended up.
Oh, cool. I oh, speaking of which, got Ninny and Honey coming in. Um
Nice.
so oh, okay. And
I should probably pull up your stream.
oh, it's okay. Hey Vixen, what's going on, buddy? How are you all doing? Hope everybody's doing well. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Why is this not? Hang on. Let me do this real quick.
I'm gonna go grab some water really quick.
You are completely fine. I don't know why that wasn't done before. Okay, anyways, yeah. So while he's grabbing a water, this is me without a beard. I don't know. So I definitely, uh, have some regrets. I should have lost a little more weight before I shaved the beard. De- Definitely have a little bit of a double chin going. I was like, ah, damn it. But whatever. Um, Beardless yawn, yes. And I made Ninny and Vixen. I made you both VIPs in the channel. I don't know. I don't know why Ninny wasn't before. I could have swore she was, but I don't know what happened. Anyways, yeah. So Yanni beards, yeah. What I should do now is I should go for Halloween. I should go buy a fake beard and just wear it. So, but I appreciate you all showing up. I'm sure Gage will, 100% as well. Let's see here. And thank you all so much for your well wishes for Mommy on. I really appreciate it. Um, sorry. Checking Twitter, and then I realized I shouldn't do that because Twitter is Twitter is kind of a hellhole. I'm not gonna lie. I appreciate it, Vixen. So, but how are you all doing? Hope you all are doing well. Hope everything is going great for you all. And I was telling Gage that I actually played the game that Baby Wings was playing, so I liked it. I thought it was a really good game. And now I can't spoil it for you, Gage, because they're watching her play it. So now I can't tell you what it's about. Um, but all right, well we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome everybody. This is the 39th episode. So this weekend we'll knock out. It looks like a total of 40 episodes for the podcast, which is amazing. I thought I was going to have trouble getting one or two people to join, and we're almost booked out through all of October, going into November. Um, yeah, so we're going to be getting to 50. I mean, probably before the end of October. So it'll be incredible. So, anyways, uh, going as we always do. Uh, I think nobody can introduce themselves better than the guests. So, Gage, I'm going to let you take it away for a few moments and introduce yourself.
Oh, I don't even know how to do that anymore. Uh, Hi, my name is Gage, also known as GageTM. So, and no, don't worry, it's not my real name, I guess. As they always say, don't use your real name on the internet, which I guess that's kind of old advice now,
Yeah.
since it really doesn't matter. But yeah, obviously I play video games, otherwise I probably wouldn't be here. Um, then again, Twitch is not really just for video games anymore.
Yep.
Just really weird thinking that
It is.
just chatting is the biggest or one of the biggest categories.
Yep. IRL streams for sure. Um, so we'll kind of go into a little bit because we've had a chance to talk before. So I know a little bit about your background and stuff like that. But starting kind of at the beginning, what got you into Twitch in the first place?
Um, I think it started with just having somebody to interact with because other than when I was really young, I started to get into competitive Halo
Okay.
as I got older, and so we always had like a group of people to play with, and that was what I considered the most enjoyable part of gaming was just hanging out with the boys or the girls.
What was so I always have to ask this as soon as somebody I don't know why I have this pin anymore. This has become a prop in the podcast. It just this was on my desk one day and I'm like, I don't even know whose this belongs to. It's mine now. Um yeah, sophisticated Chewbacca with a pin. Um what is your favorite Halo? I always have to ask that when people talk about Halo.
The original Halo 1.
Okay. That's you know what most people say too. I prefer the original. That's kind of what I have the most fond memories of. LAN parties with friends, playing the original. The original cheats, by the way, as I always tell people, it wasn't wall hacks or aimbot. It was looking over at your friend's screen
Yeah.
to find out where they were in the game. Um, I always loved the original Halo. What got you? Was that your first FPS that you played?
Hold on.
Oh, you're fine.
No, no, it wasn't.
Okay.
Probably GoldenEye was the first one.
Yes.
But honestly, I'm a Perfect Dark fan. I don't know if you ever played
Yes,
Perfect Dark,
I did.
the original, not the one on Xbox. That one sucked.
Um, what was her name? Joanne Dark? Was that?
Joanne Dark,
Yep,
Joanna actually.
Joanna. I remember. Was it the original or was it the sequel that when you turned up the original AI, when you turned it up all the way in terms of difficulty, they basically had wall hacks and aimbot. Speaking of which, I'm
I
trying to
think it was the
remember.
original one.
Yeah, they basically made it to where the original was almost impossible to beat on the highest difficulty. I mean, they were the AI and all that stuff would like pre-fire around walls. It was like the craziest stuff ever. Um, but yeah, absolutely. GoldenEye, you were not allowed to pick odd job, and we always loved to do uh, what was it? I think it was License to Kill was one hit only, and then we'd like to do slappers only, and run around and
Everybody likes slappers.
run around and chop people. Um, so but I know that um, you also played. You were really big into League of Legends. Um,
Yes, love
so
hate relationship.
oh yeah, no, I think all competitive games we have love hate relationships with. Um, so obviously that's vastly different. You've got FPS, Halo, and then MOBA is is the category for Dota and Smite, League of Legends, stuff like that. What got you into League of Legends?
Um, we were landing Halo,
Okay,
and there were a couple of guys there that I had known for years at that point. They were talking about how they were playing it, and I didn't have a computer at the time. I
okay,
think I had my laptop for school because I had just started college, and I decided to download it. And I remember that night I played on a trackpad because it was so fun. I played for hours, all night long, and my hand was on fire the next day. Like I couldn't hold anything without just a sharp pain shooting through my hand.
oh god,
So
video game injuries are real.
that
Um,
was like right after it had released. I want to say it was around when Talon was released.
okay, I
So,
don't think I played it. I'm trying to remember. I think I played it and oh god, the Freljord group was released. So they had just released like Gragas, Anivia, Sejuani, Trundle, Ash. They were kind of on that patch. Um, and which is funny because I actually, so I played uh, Halo and GoldenEye and all that stuff, and I always liked FPSs, but I never was competitively into them. So when I came to League of Legends, it was a more familiar territory because it was RPG, right? It's more heavily, way more RPG based. Um, off of the original being off of Dota, Defense of the Ancients. And what kind of transitions from, I mean, you talked about having an interest in it and finding it really fun, but what kind of do you think transitions somebody from completely different genres?
I think it's just the competitive drive, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So in Halo 1, the reason why it's my favorite, and pretty much all the people that I've played with, I would say like 85% of them, Halo 1 is also their favorite. It's very similar to Counter Strike, and like every small thing that you pick up on and decide to do in the game will
Hmm.
add up indefinitely. And if you can just think about the game in a very basic structure that way, so if you add up all those little things you decide to do, like kiting camps when you're jungling and saving that 5 health, it's going to add up over 5 minutes of doing it to 60 health. And just constantly being able to see yourself improve game by game or day by day. It's so it wasn't really hard for me to get into it, even though I had never played PC at all. It's just looking for that drive that is currently missing for anything right now.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I think you were leading into talking about that before we started up the podcast. And I definitely do want to get to that if you're okay with speaking on that, because
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I think a lot of people get burnt out, and I think a lot of people then feel isolated because they see other people who aren't burnt out or who are trying to push themselves to the burnout, and I don't necessarily agree with that.
Oh
Um,
no.
and and they think they're kind of alone in it, and I definitely I appreciate hearing those stories because I think it really helps people um, to know that there is one. I think it's a far more common experience than people ever kind of let on. And number two, I think hearing how other people are dealing with it, even if they haven't fully dealt with it, is really beneficial. But going kind of back to that, I do want to add that I kind of have a little bit of a similar experience with League of Legends because I had a bunch of friends. I never had a PC. I always had a Mac. Nobody hate me. I
No,
know.
I had one. That's
Oh,
how I
okay.
started.
Okay. Yeah. So I had a
I
Mac.
actually boot camped Windows on the Mac just to be able to play it.
I well, see, I came in when it came out for Mac. So
Oh, okay.
I was actually able to straight download it on Mac, and I was able to play. And this is the one button mouse that I had to play it with. Um, and it was something that I could really play with my friends, and but I couldn't really do because I didn't have high enough FPS and I didn't have enough uh, ability with the keyboard and mouse of the Mac to do precision mechanics. So I picked up Heimerdinger, um, because his at the time
Oh Lord.
his his turrets automatically fired on people. His missiles were homing missiles, um, and his grenade at the time was just kind of a straight shot. And so I kind of picked up on that because he basically played himself. And it was always kind of funny because people told me he was such a useless character, and so I made it my personal goal in our friend group to be the best Heimerdinger that I could. And I actually climbed from with him alone. I climbed from bronze 2 to gold 1 with him. Um, and then eventually, when I got a actual PC, I switched to support, uh, and then I climbed to diamond from that. But that was its own hell.
Support Heimerdinger?
No. I no no.
Just kid.
Well, well, you kid, but we did run that. My friend and I would go bot lane, and we would go Heimerdinger Nidalee, and we would draw so much aggro because teams did. It was such a weird comp that people didn't know how to deal with it. Bronze, silver, low, gold. They had no comp. Which, I mean, you've played the game at various levels. I mean, it's just like Overwatch, right? What gold players know in Overwatch versus what GMs know is a vastly different skill set. And
Yeah, it's
in
almost a different game
yeah, and
completely.
in any competitive game, I mean, in Halo, if we even go with Halo, you can do if you're good enough, you can do pistols only for just you and wipe the floor with everybody. Once you get to a certain level, you can kind of get away with BS. It's like Night Blue. I don't know how familiar you are with the League streamers, but for those of you who don't know, Night Blue is challenger level, master challenger level jungler, and I don't even know if he plays League anymore. This was several years ago when I watched him, but he would always do BS, like he would do like Kassadin jungle and uh, what else would he do? Like support Lee Sin, and he would always do these weird things, but he knew the jungle characters so well, and he knew the jungle so well that he could get away with stuff that in gold plat they had no idea what to do. Um, but anyways, yeah, we would take Nidalee Heimerdinger bot lane, and this was back when Nidalee's spears did 5,000 damage if they hit you from far enough, and so he would basically just hide in bushes and throw a spear and get people to half health, and then they couldn't engage on me with the turrets, and yeah, it was freaking hilarious. Um, but we haven't really had a chance to talk about your league experiences. So, what did you play? How far did you climb? Like, I'm really curious about all that.
Let's see. Um, I mean, obviously, I jumped around, roll. I think everybody does before they kind of settle on
Yeah.
something like this fits me the best. I guess I started mid laning, and
Okay.
honestly, it's probably my most consistent role.
Okay.
So I started mid laning, and eventually picked up jungle, and I didn't start ADCing until like a little later,
Okay.
maybe after I played for about a season. Um, I got to gold the season that I started, but that was like back with the old elo system. I don't know if you remember. Like it was actually hard to get the gold. It was like a rating. It was like 1500 to gold, 1700 was
No, I
platinum.
yeah, no, I don't remember that. I was in
Yeah, it
it.
was very different.
Okay.
And so after the changes, I guess that was season 3 when they started doing that. Round one by was released.
Okay.
I started ADCing, but I right now I play on like 80 ping, and it sucks for ADCing. Um, I was living in Germany at the time, and
Okay.
obviously the servers are closer to everyone that lives there instead of stretched across a huge country. Um, I guess I had like 30 ping or so. So
Mhm.
ADC, I was already like really good at, you know, like mechanically. So with the ping, ADC was my favorite. And I climbed to Diamond 2 was the highest I got to. I believe it was season 5.
Okay.
But I usually hovered around Diamond. Um, and I stopped trying because right now, honestly, it's just kind of a big grind, and I don't really have the patience to grind as much anymore. I don't know why they keep doing that, but they just make it harder and harder to, you know, actually see where your skills can take you. And that's not, I just don't think that's a good thing.
It seems like a lot of competitive games they try to make it, and Overwatch has done this too. They try to make it far more uh, team based and less about a solo carry,
Yes.
and less about a solo carry. The problem with that is that that works to your detriment if you are capable of solo carrying, because now, like in Overwatch, for the longest time, and there's people that still say it is. I don't know if it's as bad anymore, but there's still people that say that, tanks basically define the game. If your tanks aren't halfway decent, you just auto lose. And that becomes really frustrating in a way because you would have like really, really, really good Widow players who were not cheating, who were mechanically very good at the game, and there's nothing that they can do because the tanks are so strong that the tanks just either uh, put up, in the double shield meta, they just put up 2,400 health worth of shields that you can't kill as Widow, and they're just right in your face. Or you have like Dive, Winston Diva, where they just jump on the Widow and kill her. And it becomes hard for that character to do any real solo carry because these other characters just completely get rid of her. Meanwhile, if you have the Winston Diva that don't contest the Widow, or the double shield tanks that don't know where to put their shields, or don't know how to work together, their Widow has free roam to just kill your whole team. So it's kind of, you're at the mercy of other players on your team, and that's kind of what got frustrating to me as support, and where I kind of started to back off a little bit, and where I really got frustrated in Plat. There is an elo hell, it's in Plat and League. Um,
I'm glad that you understand that because a lot of people don't. Plat is the absolute worst. It's because the people think they're good at the game when in reality they're just starting. They're just starting to get into the actual game. They're mechanically sound enough to be there, and that's it.
well,
Most of the time, they don't know much at all.
and that's the problem, is that a lot of them got there based purely off mechanics, and
Yep.
and then they don't know. Okay, so you're Zed and you're 13-1. Okay, cool. But their team has. I'm just trying to think of an example. Their team has, let's say, uh, let's go back a few seasons. Like their team has Tom Kinch and Malphite, right? Well, anybody you go on, Tom Kinch is
Yeah.
just going to eat them, and uh, and it's going to completely negate your ult, and then Malphite's just going to CC you to death. You know, so it doesn't matter that you're 13-1. You dive on that type of team, they have enough peel to negate your damage and protect their team, and you're just going to lose. So, it's definitely an eye opener. I think in Overwatch, probably Masters is where you hit that, where people are mechanically pretty decent, but they don't know basics like, hey, three people just died. Okay, three people just died. Don't waste any ults. And then Lucio solo beats himself, you know, uh, and and he completely wastes that for the next fight because he thought for some reason that he was going to solo carry with sound barrier on himself. So yeah, you definitely get that. I think in a lot of competitive games, but yeah, Plat was absolutely the worst because you could bot lane could absolutely destroy, but if your mid laner lost and your jungler was losing, eventually they just rotated bot lane and they just camped you, and it didn't really matter. Like you couldn't, 4v2, unless your top laner was just like a god. I don't know, I'm trying to think of a carry or something like that, a god Renekton or something like that that could really, really punish the top lane and put pressure up top. But um, no, I definitely agree that people kind of meander around the different roles. I started out mid. The only role that I never was going to do was jungle. I hate jungling. I don't know why. I will never jungle the rest of my life. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I think the reason I hate it is because everybody in that game thinks that they're the solo carry. And so if you don't give one lane attention, they literally
Yep.
whine and want to throw. When the funny thing is, jungling by definition is realizing what lane is lost and what lanes are like. If you're going back to that Renekton, if your lane is, or if that lane's 13-0, that's who you're going to keep making sure is doing well. Whereas if your bot lane is 0-8, do you put any resources in there, or do you just let the first tower break and let them kind of farm back up? You know, So I don't know. It's always kind of a difficult decision to make. Um, but what kind of I always like to ask people this, especially when they play League of Legends. Actually, what were your favorite characters to ask?
To play,
Yeah.
mm, Jinx is one of my
Okay. Cool.
go-tos. I don't know why. She's just so fun. I think I like global ults. Getting the snipes and stealing barons, all that stuff. It's just fun. It's fun seeing the reaction of your teammates, especially whenever they're like flaming you, and then all of a sudden you steal two barons. That actually happened the other day. I haven't
Did it?
played League in forever, and I stole two barons with Jinx after having my support leave me at level 2. I had a Janna support. We both hit 2 at the same time, and Janna flashes into their is it Senna Ash,
Mm-hmm.
and used all her abilities. She ended up dying. I ended up dying, and she pinged my flash. But like, I'm not gonna burn my flash because they both had their flash. I didn't want to flash and not have it.
Right.
And she was pinging me like, "What are you doing? You still have your flash." So she leaves, and I was like, "No, that's okay. That's okay. If I want to have a toxic support, that's fine. I'm totally okay with like soloing bot lane." And we ended up winning the game.
Yeah.
Sold two barons. Yeah, toxic Janna.
It's always
Um,
funny when you have characters that are. I guess in Overwatch it's kind of funny too, but it's always been funnier because there's definitely a lot cuter characters in League, and it's always funny like when you have like an actual toxic Teemo or something like that. Just because you
yeah,
imagine it in his voice, where he's like, "Y'all suck," you just kind of imagine that. Um, yeah, my favorites were I always liked Janna, but my favorites were Morgana, Nami. Um, I always liked Thresh. I never really cared for Blitzcrank that much. Blitzcrank to me,
He's very one-dimensional.
Thresh is a better version of Blitzcrank to me. Um,
Yeah, he is.
so I never liked Blitzcrank a whole lot. Um, trying to think of who else. Leona, but Leona is if you don't have the right team comp, Leona is the worst character in the game, in my opinion, because you literally just feed on cooldown. Like because there's no like getting out as Leona. You go in, you're going in, like you're there. So there's just there's no, whoopsie. Let me retract my statement with Leona. So, um, like Tom Kench. Most of the supports I always thought were cool. I never was a big Zyra. Don't tell Baby Wings. I never was a big Zyra fan, or Brand. I didn't like a whole lot. I always liked utility supports more, um, because I could
Should give
basic.
Xerath a try.
I
He's got plenty of utility. He's got a stun. He's got a slow.
I honestly didn't play a whole lot of Xerath. The big damage dealer support, if you will, that I did play was Lux. Um, Lux definitely, and Nautilus. I always laughed when playing Nautilus because Nautilus could deal, especially when people first found him being a viable support. He could deal so much damage with his Q. Trying to remember, was it his? I haven't played in forever. It's his shockwave attack. I don't know where that emanates out from him. Not his ultimate, but his
Yeah, I know what you're
yeah.
talking about.
With that and his passive and all that in his shield, like he just dealt so much damage. Um, but yeah, I always loved characters like that, and now we talk about, damn it, I want to play League. Um, oh,
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
it's we should play sometime. I don't know, it might be fun playing with friends.
I'd be down.
Um, but kind of going kind of going back away from League a little bit. You then went from League to Valorant, correct? Pretty much.
Um, what do you mean to Valorant?
I mean,
I
did
jumped around from a bunch of games, just what was
did you?
fun at the time. Like I played a bunch of PUBG when it first came out.
Okay,
It's pretty good at that. Played a lot of Overwatch
okay.
um, when it first came out, and then I stopped. It's just I don't know. It's got to keep my attention. It's got to be something fresh. If it's just there and there's no like meta game that actually evolves, like Halo One, for example. I think it was like 15 years after the game was released, there was like a mechanic in the game that no one had figured out yet, and it's called random spawns. And you can stand in a certain spot if your teammate's dead and spawn him randomly at one of the spawns on the map.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can control where he spawns, and it just completely changed how the game was played, and it made it fresh again. And it's just like nothing has that anymore. It's always like, oh, what do we have to do to make this character not so good? Oh, let's make them useless. And that's really the extent of it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I did the typical battle royale stuff. Played a lot of Fortnite when it came out in the first 3 seasons. I actually really regret not sticking with that because they poured so much money into it. It's unreal.
Have you thought of going back
And
to Fortnite?
and I guess I have, but I feel like I'm way behind the curve at this point.
I mean,
I like an 80% win rate in duos.
oh, awesome. I mean, the thing about it is so out of curiosity though, so what have you always kind of focused on as a streamer? Has it been more about the content creation or has it been more about the competitiveness?
Competitiveness and just the interaction with the community.
Okay.
I guess just now recently I've been trying to like steer towards content creation, I suppose, even though I'm still not putting my entire effort into it, which I guess I'll shamefully admit. But
No. I mean, a lot of us, um, we all have areas to improve upon. I mean, I've been doing this for almost a year, and you've got lights in the background, and you've got cool transitions, and I have friggin' onesies. I mean, this is where my effort went. Um, and I've got this room that was made 20 years ago. Um, Everything still looks like that. But yeah, I know I think a lot of people have different things that they kind of want to focus on, and I think a lot of people, uh, in particular, it's a fine line between being skilled at a game and being entertaining at the game. Because I was talking about this the other day with Insulted Salt. I know people in Overwatch that are 4,500 players, and they don't 44, 4,500 players. I mean, that's past even the top 1%. That's the top hundredth of a percent, and they don't have a tenth of the viewership that somebody in Diamond, you know, 1,000 SR below them has. So
Yeah.
there's always a fine line I think you walk as a content creator, between being entertaining and being competitive. And I think that's something that everybody kind of has to figure out, because there are people that are highly competitive. Like, I'm going to be interviewing for Giving tomorrow, and he is a 4,600 tank. Like right now in tank, I think in North America he's ranked like 30, out of everybody. So um, he and then I watch also Tryhard, who is like rank 15 out of everybody. And so, but they also have, what they've taken is they've taken their competitive aspect and they've explained how they're kind of doing everything, like more of an educational stream. And I always thought that that was something really interesting. And I've definitely seen you doing that too, especially with League of Legends. You always kind of were explaining your thought process with different things, um, and why this particular person over here was upset for no reason. I always thought that was funny. Um, so what have with kind of where you want to steer the stream, like where are you kind of wanting to steer it at this point?
See, I don't know. I don't really want to throw my eggs into one basket because
Right.
I think people get uh, like not in a bad spot. I don't think that's a good idea, especially as a streamer, content creator, whatever you want to call it. I
Right.
don't think that's good. Like you said, everybody has areas that they can work on, and if you just develop yourself as a person as a whole, um, I mean, that's invaluable just in life. For example, you're talking about my transition and stuff. I
Hmm.
did all that myself. I
Yeah,
didn't pay for it. Um, but I like the educational idea. I recently did some stuff with Valorant. I actually helped review gameplay and kind of help coach an esports team for a college of my friends.
that's awesome.
Um, yeah, so that was cool. I don't know how it looked on stream. I didn't really go back and watch. I haven't had trouble watching myself, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Even though it's a good thing to do if you're into this thing. If you were a streamer and you're looking to improve, go back and watch your own streams. I just hate doing it.
No, I completely understand. I used to hate the sound of my own voice, and so it was always weird to go and hear. Um,
Everybody hates the sound of their own voice.
yeah.
Naughty.
Well, because you hear the way that you hear it is not the way that it sounds, and so it's always weird when
Right,
you
right.
hear that disconnect, and you're sitting there like, why do I sound like a hyena on helium? It's kind of. But I think that reviewing your own streams is really really good. But I also think that there's a natural stride that a lot of people have. And when you hit that kind of natural stride, and that's the part that you got to figure out, right? That's what's so time consuming, is kind of figure that natural stride out. But when you really have a passion for something, I think that that attracts people. I think that, when you really are passionate about, whether it was educational or whether it was, the XQC level of screaming in his monitor, um, in his competitive scene, there's something that attracts people, to, you know, a really, really determined individual in improving, as you said, not just improving the stream, not improving their gameplay, but improving themselves as well. Um, and that's why, for me, whether you become a professional streamer or not, I always personally think that streaming on so many levels is beneficial to people. Um, in fact, actually, when I was in school, uh, when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, feels like. But when I was back in college, at this point, 5, 6 years ago, they they would tell you in speech class, do a speech, record it, and then watch yourself. Even back then, even before people were doing streaming as a major thing. I think it really, really is invaluable to kind of go back and do that. So no, I completely agree with that. So what have you? So you are enjoying the educational aspect a lot more?
I'm really good at it. The
Okay.
only thing is, everybody's at their own level of understanding and skill level, and I feel kind of stretched thin or in a kind of in an awkward situation. Like if I'm having to break down the most basic detail of something,
Mhm.
when like let's say a lot of whoever's watching already know that. So I feel like they're gonna be like, oh, I already know that. I'm gonna leave. Boom. And then they leave.
Right.
I'm probably overthinking that.
Well, here's
But
here's what I would tell you. So, um, if we use kind of League as an example, ward rotation is something that I would say people don't have a good concept of until you get to like Diamond 1. um, Most people do not know anything about rotating wards and about setting up vision, like at the pro level. Like I forget, but when SKT was kind of at their zenith, I forget how many wards on average Wolf would set up. It was like 50% greater than the next highest support. He would actually not buy items to get more wards. Um,
I still do that. Even as an ADC, I try to keep at
yeah,
least one pink ward with me just because that extra pink ward could mean getting the dragon or Baron.
yep,
I
and
mean, that's huge.
and I think a lot of people. So where I completely understand where you're coming from, but what I would say, kind of as an encouraging thing, is that there's a lot of people that think that they understand something, and then once you start to explain it to them, they realize, oh shit, I don't know what he's talking about, or I didn't think of that um, one particular thing. Um, for instance, using myself as an example, I've known about the Winston melee, uh, jump melee cancel for since I started playing Winston. But still to this day, I don't do it as often as I should. And so when I hear people mention, hey, why are you not doing that? I'm like, okay, I need to work on that more. So even though I know about it, it's not until it's brought to my attention. But I think VOD reviews, I think for competitive players, I think VOD reviews are one of the most underrated ways to grow your stream. That's what I believe. I truly believe that. Um, so I think you would do a fantastic job is because like I said, I've watched you be educational when you do your League of Legends streams, and I always enjoyed kind of hearing about that, even as reinforcement. So, and I think most of your player base, because see, when I was doing VOD reviews for players for Overwatch, I'm a high master player, right? People will rather go to high GM players, or they would rather go to top 500 pros, contenders, all this stuff. But then I realized that most of the people coming into my stream were not, also master players. They were not GMs. They were not, they were bronze, silver, gold, plat. So at that level, even though I'm not the highest level, I can still teach them a bunch of stuff that they don't know or that they're not thinking about consciously. So I
Right,
think
exactly.
I think most of your player base and anything that you do is going to be much more average or below average. And I'm not being denigrating, but that's just the way that competitive games are set up. I mean, most people in, what's the average in League back when I stopped? I think it was like Silver 2 or something like that. Um,
I don't even have an account in Silver, and I haven't played 2 games in the past year.
Yeah. Um, I think it was silver back when I stopped. I think it was
I think
silver.
it's Silver. That
Um,
sounds about right.
yeah, it was like
Silver 2.
silver or gold 5 or something. And so yeah, anybody coming to your stream, even if you were diamond 5, you could teach people stuff. I definitely think that'd be an avenue to explore. So I 100% think that'd be awesome to see. This is gonna bug me, so I gotta ask: is that an amethyst rock behind you? Because it keeps.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Well, hang on. So you see behind me. Well, I don't know if it might be out of focus, but way back there on the cabinet on the bookshelf, those are amethyst rocks
Are
too.
they?
Yeah, yeah, to hold the books in place. Okay.
Nice.
Um, sorry, that was gonna bug me. I used to be very much into gemstones stuff. Um, Vixen says his transitions are so cool. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he's done a fantastic job. Um, but kind of going forward, we were talking about in the very beginning, about the burnout and stuff like that. Do you mind talking about that and kind of what's been going on?
Yeah. Do you want me to be honest about it, or do you want me to beat around the bush?
You can be as candid as you want, as long as I always tell people this. As long as it's not TOS or we're not talking bad about other streamers, you say whatever you want.
All right. So these guys aren't streamers, so we're good.
Okay.
Okay. So I told you about how like I grew up playing Halo.
Mhm.
Some of these guys are my like good friends to this day.
Mhm.
Um, so we kind of had like inclusive group going on, playing different things. Now I'm having trouble like finding something play with somebody. I have this like crutch where I rely on somebody else being like, "Hey, do you want to play this?" And I'm like, "Okay, we can play that," because that's part of the enjoyment for me is the teamwork aspect of it. For example, Escape from Tarkov. I'm playing that a lot here recently. I
Mhm.
hate playing it by myself.
Mhm.
Absolutely hate it. It's a it's already a spooky game. Okay, makes me jump, but it's really not even about that. It's just I just don't see the point playing it by myself
Right.
at all. I love the team aspect of it because it just adds a whole another dimension that I enjoy as far as competitive gaming. And so it really comes down to just not having anybody to play with. So I'll sit around and wait for somebody to get on. And if nobody gets on, I'll just go back and watch some TV shows until somebody gets on. And it's actually really pathetic when I think about it. But yeah, that's really what it is.
No, I don't think. I love that Chewbacca. I appreciate that, buddy. I don't think that's pathetic at all, man. And I'm going to tell you that I'm in a very similar position. Um, aside from some single player games, and I'm starting to work myself through some single player games now. But one of the hardest things that I can sit here and I can have a conversation with you, and I can just if this call ends or whatever, I can sit here, not play a game and talk to chat. I can do it just chatting stream, but it's very difficult for me to play anything competitive because of OCD and focus on chat being, more, because I've talked about this with other people as well. As a streamer, you're almost taking your inward or your inside voice and turning it outward. You're, like things that you might be like, okay, I'm going to jump on this Hanzo, right? Even if you're not saying that in voice chat, you need to say that, almost aloud. Even if that's in your head, you need to say it aloud for stream to hear it. And it's very difficult for me um, to play competitive games and be the content creator that I want to be. Again, I can talk all day long to chat without a game. I can play some single player games that are very chill and talk to chat all day long. Um, but doing these podcasts, we can talk to chat and all this because we're having a conversation. But yeah, no, I completely understand because there's a something about um, having human interaction because this is a very very inhuman thing to do, really. I mean, we're having, it is, but we are having a conversation one on one, right, with an entire group of people where we can't hear the voices, we can't see the facial expressions, all of what social creatures would use to gauge interactions, no pun intended, but um, you know,
Sure.
to be able to assess how somebody's understanding something or reciprocating something, and we take all of that out, and instead it's us talking to a computer screen. I've said this before, and I don't mean any offense. I know that those, that the people in chat are real people. I've had one-on-one conversations with a lot of them. I consider them my family. I think that they're super awesome, but it's still different than what most people will experience in social interaction. So I think that when we go, a little too hard on ourselves as far as what is essentially a an alien concept in social interaction, because this still isn't, something that people are used to. It's like, our backs. The reason humans have so many back problems is our spines are not actually made to be upright. Our primal ancestors were still taking time walking on all fours and stuff like that. And, humans being upright in a desk or, or at work 14 hours a day is not something that evolution has caught up with yet. I mean, you know, evolutionary medicine, if people believe in that concept, they've talked about that a lot. Um, but yeah, I don't think that that's lazy. I don't think that that's an unfair, thing to. I don't think that that's. Or I do think that that's kind of being a little unfair to yourself because I go through the same thing. Like Overwatch, cannot play Overwatch solo. I cannot. I can't do it. Have
Yeah,
to.
you need at least one other person that you know
Yep.
personally.
Yep. I have to have somebody to keep me grounded and keep me sane because I know myself, and I know about the time that I run into a stack of 4 or 5 people all blaming me because I'm not the one in the group. Uh, I'm
Yeah,
can't. I'm gonna lose my shit. Like I can't, can't. I'm completely candid about it. I'm not gonna be happy, So to have somebody who can, mellow me out, and hopefully I can do the same for them. No, I completely understand where you're coming from. And is this why you've started to think about more solo player games and all that stuff?
uh, I want to find a single player game to play, but it doesn't hold my interest, unfortunately. Obviously, I grew up playing Morrowind, Skyrim, Oblivion, all that stuff, and I I just can't do it anymore. I don't know what it is. It's not. It's taking that other human out, and I'm just. It just seems pointless to me. If that makes any sense, I don't want to like bash single player games at all because, like I said, I want a single player game that I can play. But as I'm playing, I'll get like a couple hours in, and somebody's like, "Hey, do you want to play something?" And obviously, I'm going to drop that and go play Valorant with somebody because it's
Right.
just more enjoyable to me.
Um, have you thought at all of what about MMOs?
It kind of goes the same way, and the fact that it's like a huge time jump or time dump. It's a
Right.
huge time dump. Like you have to dedicate a lot of time to MMOs. That's the only problem with them. I'm surprised there's not like more smaller scale MMOs, not necessarily smaller scale, but so you don't have to invest as much time. If you get what I mean, you don't have to spend 6 or 7 hours a day to be relevant. Like
Right.
with all the like highest tier gear, because that's me. Like I am that I'm competitive, so I'm going to do that. And
Right.
if I have to do it, I'm probably not going to.
I
I'm
think
probably just not going to play it.
I think a game I've been really interested in that's kind of MMO-ish is Sea of Thieves, um, which looked really
See, these
interesting.
is fun.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
obviously I played with somebody.
Well, yeah, but I think that it is a game where, playing with somebody, um, but it's also about, I think you can meet people that if your current group of friends aren't on, you can play with them as well. That's what I was thinking about with the MMO aspect, is that you can meet other people too, um, who would be on, aside from just, because the more I've played Overwatch, the more I've met people through the Overwatch community to play with. Um, This is kind of branching out like that. But no, I do understand a lot where you're coming from. How to help? I don't know entirely how to help. Um, but I think,
I want to bring up a point, and then
sure, go ahead.
I want to go get some water after.
Sure.
So that being said, that's another issue. Like these toxic communities, which honestly stem from League. I blame League for everything that is the gaming world today. Okay, I'm sorry. League is great, for what it is. Like it was an awesome game.
Hmm.
I mean, it's okay now. Like I get on and play, but it's not my favorite. I don't like the direction it's gone. But the community is awful. Okay, and it's just branched out and just it's everywhere. Like I cannot find people, even if they're the same skill level as me. I thought they were cool. It's just hard to meet people and be like, "Hey, man, what's up?" I'm still friends with some of these people that I played Halo with, even the people that I played Halo 2 with, not Halo 1, or like LAN parties, stuff like that. I'm talking about people I met online that I've never really met in life, but I'm still friends with them to this day. And I mean, there's not maybe one or two people that I can think of when in the past 10 years that I can say that I'm actually friends with.
Okay.
It's just weird. It feels weird today. Part of it is because everybody hates the outsider on their team. I get it. People don't play like you do. Grow up. Their brains don't work. Their brains don't work the same either.
Right.
Everybody's brain works differently. Hell, I have to say my ABCs in my head if I can't remember somebody's name. But guess what? I end up remembering the name.
Hmm.
All right, I want to go get some
Okay.
water. Like touch on that.
No, no, no. I do have some thoughts on that, but I'll wait till you get back. Tonight's episode of Yanni After Dark brought to you by Uniball Vision, the leader in pin quality. I don't know. Um, but I do have some thoughts on what Gage is saying because I do understand where he's coming from. Um, but I guess actually I can lead into it and just pick up the conversation when he gets back. Um, I think a lot of it stems from the fact that technology is more like, okay, for instance, I didn't, and this isn't me being like the old man, kids get off my lawn. Um, yeah, exactly crazy. Um, but we are now more technologically connected as a society. Social media is now more of it. Like, okay, when I had Facebook, you had to have a university email uh, to have a Facebook page.
All right then.
Okay, well, good. I didn't go on completely on the tangent, but yeah, I do have a lot of thoughts on that. So what I was saying was that we are now more than ever connected through social media and technology, more than we've ever been in history. And like when I grew up, you had to have a university email to have a Facebook page. Like you just didn't get a Facebook page. You had to have a working university email. And you know, MySpace was kind of around for a little bit, but it wasn't that big of a deal. But I didn't have a cell phone until I was 16 and I got, my driver's license. Now, there's kids in kindergarten. I mean, I have friends that are teachers, kids in kindergarten playing on their iPhone, okay? Or their Samsung or whatever they have. And
Leapfrog.
yeah, damn it. Um, but what I'm getting at is this stuff starts at, a very, young age, and life is so much more complex than 400 words on a Twitter post. But yet, that is what people have now started to judge the value of somebody like, can you catch? And it's not even if what you're saying is true. Can you like I could go put something outrageous on Twitter right now and probably manufacture in that outrage a bunch of comments likes, dislikes, whatever. But that's not, it's real in the context of that somebody really did that, really said that, but it's not real in the context of people are far more complex than that. And so you take something like League of Legends. You can't, in the span of one game, one 30 to 45-minute game, you can't explain to somebody why they're a moron when it comes to what they're doing, you know? So the only thing that people can do, the only outlet that they know, is to be vitriolic and spiteful. That's the only outlet that they know because they want to tell this person that they're wrong, but they can't explain in full paragraphs and an entire thesis statement why they're wrong. So it just boils down to I hate you, you know, uh, you know, stuff I'm not going to say on stream, and I don't even feel comfortable saying it off stream. But they say stuff that is just completely meant to degrade and hurt somebody because that's how they feel, and they don't have the skill set to talk about that. I mean, I had to. I remember when I taught at a college, I would have to sit there and explain to, yes, young adults, but adults nonetheless, why you shouldn't plagiarize, why you shouldn't steal somebody else's work. I had to explain this to them. And before somebody goes, well, they might not have known what it. No, no, no. What I mean by explain it to them is there would be people that would say, well, I'm just putting this in a paper. I'm not making any money off of it. What does it matter? And you have to explain that to people now. And it just seems like things have devolved because, you blame League. I blame social media. I do. Because it's just people have gotten these short, myopic interactions with each other, and it's not real. We're talking, in a one-on-one conversation, but after this, I think you're a super awesome guy. I've hung out in your chat and talked with you, but I can't say that I fully know you after this hour, hour and a half, 2-hour conversation. So how in the world could I say that I knew who you were based off of a Twitter post or one interaction, in a game? And people have bad games, right? I had people you know one of my favorite things is when people uh they flame me in a game in Overwatch. I'm the reason that we lost, etc., etc. In the very next game, I'm on the enemy team and they're on their team, and I just, uh what's a nice way I can luck. I What's a nice way I can put that I completely destroy them. Well, anyways, yeah. And so it's you saw one uh yeah, shit upon their heads. Def- they defecated upon their heads. Chapter 1. Um but that's, you had one interaction with me. So I think it's just we've become so impersonal now with so much stuff that we do. It's just I don't know. I mean, look at Twitter right now. All right? I mean, Twitter.
I absolutely hate social media. I'm gonna be honest.
No, and you know what? I do too. I can't stand it. I absolutely detest it. But what I found out is that one of the things that we can do is we can let stuff, change our attitudes. We can let stuff affect how we are, or we can try to do, the inverse. And so, like Twitch is by definition social media. But,
Yeah,
and I don't like a lot of things about Twitch. And I don't like a lot of things about Amazon as a company. That's for damn sure. Um, but I
don't
love.
take them down, please.
What'd you say?
Nothing. I said, don't take them down, please.
Oh yeah. Um, but I absolutely adore nearly everyone that I've had a conversation with in Twitch. So what I've decided to do is kind of not focus on the platform, instead focus on the people. And I think that if we kind of, collectively start to do more of that, put the people before the platform, we would get into a much better spot, and that would be, a much more beneficial route to start taking social media. Because you can do so many wonderful things on Twitch. You really, really can. I think about the psychologists and the therapists that have their platforms that they use to talk about mental health issues and bring light to a lot of that stuff. The people that do one of the guys that I follow, he just got off. John Wolf, he just raised $25,000 for Hurricane Laura relief. You know, there's so much that we can do positively. So don't get me wrong. I'm not. I overall I don't like it either, but I definitely think that we can positively affect it. I don't know if you would agree with that, and I don't know if that, even sounds like something that's fathomable, because of how, insurmountable the odds are, so to speak, in trying to do stuff like that. But I truly do believe that we can make a difference, and and also too, I would say, one thing, the reason I don't get into politics a whole lot is because I'm not going to make a presidential run. So I'm not going to affect the Oval Office. But what I can
No
do,
wonder we get along.
yeah, but but one thing I can do is I can positively affect this person over here. This one vote I have in the sea of millions of votes cast. And before somebody goes, every vote's important. Okay, but here's the thing about voting. My vote can get canceled out by somebody voting for the opposite thing. Okay? But if I try to be a positive influence and try to be a positive force in this person's life, I don't feel like that just gets canceled out by one action from another person or something. So that's why I've always put trying to help people and talk with people one on one above stuff like politics and stuff like that. Because I feel like change is made through social interaction and caring about people and empathy and sympathy, goes hand in hand, but and not necessarily about, trying to become the most popular streamer on Twitch, so to speak. Because there's a lot of people that think that they can't help somebody or that they can't be a friend to somebody or be a good person until they get to the top 1%. And then all of a sudden that now I should try, And I just don't agree with that. But anyways, I went on a tangent. I didn't know if you had any thoughts about any, and you are obviously well within your welcome to completely disagree with me because I welcome all opinions. So,
Um, I don't want to get into the politics part.
oh no 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 yeah yeah
I just it's such a touchy subject. I just don't. I've already not like even growing up, going through school, debate class. I mean, it's not politics, but it kind of leads into it. I just never really saw the point because if you have like an opinion on something that strongly where you're arguing with somebody else, you can't change their mind. So what's the point?
right.
I don't know. I'm not trying to be a lawyer. If I was, then sure, maybe I would join debate class. But uh, it reminds me of the whole Travis Scott meal from McDonald's.
Oh
Have you seen
God,
that?
dude,
Like,
people
isn't
have
that
put that
nuts?
in my chat
Isn't that nuts? It's crazy. It's just a freaking quarter pounder, isn't it?
with bacon. Yeah, pretty much. It just he got barbecue sauce for his fries. Like that's pretty much it.
And that's why people think they can't do anything unless they're like top 1%. Actually, we are in the top 1% of Twitch, but the top 0.00001.
Right.
You get it. The one with all the viewers, people.
And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and I that's just something that I'll never be able to agree with. I will always think that, and specifically a Sprite for some reason. Yeah, 7 Up over Sprite. Although
Amen there.
uh, although they do Sprite because it's Coke. So like these different companies have different one will carry Sprite products, one or Coke products, one will carry Pepsi products. Pepsi's 7 Up, Sprite's Coca-Cola. Um, but I always think too of the um, Mitch Hedberg joke where he's like, "I tried to make Sprite. They said there's lemon and lime. I'm telling you right now, there's more to it than that." um, but they, yeah, I don't agree with that, and that's why I always laugh when celebrities try to air their grievances. Like, not that people can't go through stuff. I mean, you know, stage 4 cancer, pancreatic cancer, what Steve Jobs had, is a horrendous, just atrocious disease, no matter who you are, no matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter. And it's also pretty much a fatal disease, no matter who you are. Um, but with that being said, when celebrities, you know, famously want to talk about stuff like, you know, greenhouse gases while they have 3 private jets, you know, it's one of those things that's just a little off. Um, but yeah, no, I definitely understand where you're coming from, and I think it was also because of the religion that, and I know I talk about that every damn stream it seems like, but the religion I grew up in forced me to be out of politics as a kid until I was, into my early teens. So at that point, I just didn't care about it, and same thing with like holidays and all that stuff. Which, as I put on Twitter, I think for Halloween I'm gonna go as Santa Claus. Um, because there's no rule that says I can't dress up as another holiday character. Um, but yeah, no, like I said, I do understand where you're coming from, and I definitely agree far more than I disagree about that. Um, but let's. I want to go back to the streaming. That's my fault. We went on these different tangents, but I do want to ask. Was there a point? Okay, well, when we do the Q and A collection, the Q and A question, um, we will definitely do that. Love you too, Jess. Hello. Um, but when you've been streaming for how long?
How long have I been on Twitch, or just like the collective amount of time I've been streaming? Because I haven't been streaming as long as I've been on Twitch.
Okay.
I started right after Justin TV sold it off, um, 2016 maybe.
Okay.
That's when I started. I streamed for about a year and a half. That's pretty much where my entire following comes from. And then I stopped streaming for a few years because I had to move from Germany back to over here. I started streaming again. My entire viewer base was never on when I was streaming. It got
Mm.
kind of depressing. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm done, because that was it for me, is the community, the
Right.
interaction.
But you still have some carryover. I mean, with like the family plays and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So, so you're trying. Is that what you're kind of rebuilding right now, the community and stuff, not just trying to find. So it's not just about trying to find another game. You're rebuilding the community right now.
right.
Okay. Um, what steps have you kind of thought about to do that?
Uh, get on social media.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It's just like those things, like, I don't know. It's very permanent. Like whenever you tweet something, and I take that like seriously.
As
A
do
lot of people
I.
don't nowadays,
Yeah.
and so it's just like, even if I'm tweeting something very mundane, like, I think about that. I'm like, wow, you sound like an idiot. It has to be purposeful, but nothing that is going to, like, touch any wrong buttons.
Well,
It's
I,
just a really weird thing for me. I just don't like it. I really need to do it, obviously, for my stream. So I need to work on that. That's the biggest thing I need to do.
and I would say, the thing about it is that, and I do agree with what you're saying. And as a writer with OCD, trust me when I tell you that I very much read over any tweet I put out 30 or 40 times before I hit the, send button or tweet button. But, I the thing about it is that I would say this as encouraging. I don't say this as don't think about it because I think it's a very admirable quality that you do put so much effort into thinking about what you're doing and your actions because there's a lot of people who don't think about anything and they don't think about the consequences of what they say. They don't think anything about hurting anybody's feelings. They don't think anything about, talking about stuff that they might not have a perfect grasp of. They just throw caution to the wind and they'll say whatever and hope for the best. And they might not even be hoping for the best. They might just be doing whatever. But I do think that it's inevitable. The more you grow, the more people are going to. There's always going to be people that are going to be bitter and jealous, and look to tear you down no matter what. As far as I'm concerned, my mom is a saint, but she has had people that have just been bitter and jealous, and vindictive because she ran her own business or she got a new TV or I mean they're just petty people. And so you're always that's kind of one of the things that I kind of had to um, process in my head because I remember in particular like I've gotten along with almost everybody on Twitch, but there have been people I haven't gotten along with, and I remember in particular there was somebody I didn't get along with, and he got upset because I didn't like. Well, it wasn't even that I didn't say I didn't like it because I think the movie's all right, but um, the movie Mother with Javier Bardem and Jennifer Lawrence. I said it was a good movie, but it's basically Rosemary's Baby. And this dude lost his mind in the chat. I mean, you would have thought that I defecated on his front porch. I mean, this guy was like he lost his mind over it. And there's nothing that I can do to have an opinion about something that's a movie or two movies, I should say, where this person got so upset about it. So,
Well, you got to think about it this way. Like, he might be one of those kids that he doesn't have any friends when he goes to school. His parents may not show him any attention. So this is the only attention that he gets is getting upset over a movie that some streamer that doesn't like.
right,
But you paid attention to.
right,
So there's always another side of the coin. I'm not saying that's what happened, but it
right.
could be.
No, no,
You never know.
no. I completely get what you're saying, but I guess my words of encouragement for you that I'm uh trying to and I think you're well, yeah, you're 100% right, crazy, because anybody that's going to flip a switch about a movie opinion, there's something going on there far more than that. It's just the way that it goes. And I hold no ill will towards the guy. It was just one of those things where somebody got offended over a movie opinion. Um, which is funny because I didn't even say. I just said it wasn't the best film of. He said it was the best film of all time, and I said that it wasn't. That's that was pretty much it. I said it was a good film, but I didn't agree with it being the best film of all time. So I don't know. But it's one of those things where I guess I'm trying to, and I might be doing a poor job of it, but offer encouragement, um, that I think morally you're a very good person. I've never talked with you, and
Well, thank you.
I didn't think that you weren't a cool guy. You've always treated me respectfully. You've always treated, you know, and there's also something to be said of the character of people that you talk to. And obviously, anybody that's hung around this channel knows that I think the world of the family plays, every single one of them, and they love you to death. I know that. So, there's a group of people that definitely think very, very highly of you, and to have that kind of core group, and you don't have to include me in that, but that having that core group to kind of fall back on, um, I think if you ever have any doubts or questions, whether you send out a tweet or you make a comment on stream about the quality of character and person you are, I think you can be confident or if you're not, for whatever reason, you should be confident that, you are an awesome person. And the people that I have on this stream, and this podcast in particular, there's merits and virtue and quality in all of them. You know, trust me when I tell you that I do have some people that, I mean, they're the millionth of a percent streamers, so I'm not even on the radar. But there are some people that I have thought about. If I ever did get, you know, insanely popular or something like that, would I be able to turn down an interview with some of these people? And I probably would, because I know who they are and I know some of the things that they've done and the controversy surrounding them, and I don't know that I could be a part of that. Um, so just my opinion. Um, but Gage, I've always thought, that your stream could definitely take off, and I definitely understand feeling the burnout. I just took off a month myself because of stuff going on with Mama Yan, and it wasn't personally, I mean, it was personally affecting me, but it wasn't. Uh, I could there was I could have sit there and said that there was nothing stopping me from streaming, but I didn't feel that I could give my all to the content and to um, the community. So I thought it was better just to not do it. And maybe that was the wrong decision because I definitely lost some viewership and some momentum. But
I don't think it was a wrong decision, but there's obvious setbacks and consequences for it.
hmm
But I don't think it was the wrong decision at all. I've gotten on here and started my stream, and because no one was on, I didn't want to play anything. I've just sat here. I've literally just sat here and might as well just put just chatting, but I didn't. I've even started it up, sat here for an hour and a half, and said, "Sorry guys, I can't do this," and gotten off. Do I feel bad about it? Yeah, a little bit. But at the same time, I mean, if you're gonna get mad at me for that, then whatever. It is what it is. It's not gonna hurt my feelings
I think
because
any,
again, I understand.
I think anybody that would get mad at you for that is somebody that I wouldn't want in my community. um, because until you do this, and I was guilty of this as anybody, until you do this, you don't realize how much of a mental taxation it is. Um, to be in front of a camera, not even to be in front of a camera, to be the figure. I mean, and that's not pretentious. I mean, the streamer is the figurehead of their stream. Uh, to put yourself out there, to be judged, to be critiqued, to be uh, categorized. So, if anybody's ever judged you for that, they're an asshole. I don't know. I don't, all my eloquence of lexicon, they're an asshole.
There's a
So
lot of assholes in the world.
there are, there are indeed. But
Everybody has one.
yep, was it? They all stink. Um, but I guess the thing that from having had this conversation with you, and I'm guilty because I wasn't aware of some of what's going on. Um, but I do think that there is. I have seen other streamers, and I do think that you have a quality that can definitely grow a stream. So because you can be very personable. I haven't been there in the streams where you felt like getting off, but I have been there in streams with you. So I think you know kind of rooting around for games to find, and that was something that I threw on Remnant from the Ashes because I enjoyed the game, and I was like, I just don't want to play Overwatch anymore because the meta sucked.
Remnant's awesome.
Oh yeah, but the meta sucked, and the community wasn't, as a whole, wasn't very good. So I threw on Remnant, and I was like, if I lose every viewer, I hope I don't, but if I lose every viewer, I got to do this for my sanity. And my stream actually grew more playing Remnant than it did Overwatch. And so, and I realized, and I'm not the best Remnant player, um, but what I realized was a lot of people don't play this game, or they don't stream this game, I should say. A lot of people play it, but they don't stream it. And having a modicum of skill in it was more than a lot of people had. Not to be pretentious, I mean I have 600 plus hours in the damn game. I better be able to kill one or two bosses. And more importantly, it allowed me to have an alleviation from the stress of Overwatch, and I was able to hang out more with chat and be more um, ingratiating. So I definitely think I definitely think that it just might be the time of finding a different game and stuff. But I definitely don't want you to walk away from this uh, thinking that you're not you know a quality human being, because I definitely do think very highly of you. And again, you've always been really good to me, and that's how I judge people as well. I judge people how they treat others, and how they treat me as well. So I like I said, I've always thought highly of you. So I think just finding that game, um, and that might take a while, but I definitely don't want you to get too frustrated. And I know, easier said than done. I get frustrated too. you know, like I would if it like I would be completely lying to you if I didn't say that the viewer count, you know, 30 minutes ago was triple what it is now, and that it goes through my head, well, what happened to where it dropped off? It does. And there's people say they get rid of your viewer count. I haven't done it because I've tried to get past that letting affect me on any level. Um, but, still human, and it still does, affect me to see that. So, um, what do you let's see. Hey, what's going on? It's because I showed video. Um, if Video had streamed, he'd probably be one of the most popular people on Twitch. Dude's got a hilarious sense of humor. My, you're Elon Musk. Um, hi, Dyslexia. How's it going, buddy? I have not forgotten about your poem, by the way. I have not. I'm gonna do that stuff tomorrow. Mm. All right, all right. But going forward, what what would be optimally for you, like a plan going forward to like help your stream, or have you thought about that at all?
uh, um, Again, social media. Actually, like using it. Like I know how to use it, obviously, but just oh man, it is the root of all evil. Screw money. Money
Right.
is not all evil anymore. It is social media, people. And I just don't. I feel like I'm supporting it, but I don't know. I just need to take advantage of it.
Yeah,
Really, what it is. Just need to get over that mental block that I have with it.
I gotcha. Well, I tell you what, we can uh, we can go, since I've kept you for an hour and a half now. We can go ahead and go to the Q&A section if you're okay with that.
Sure.
Okay. Um, so anybody have any questions? We already had one. Start with. Um, Vixen wanted you to talk about your whiskey collection, which I've seen pictures of.
Talk about.
or
I have a
show
lot of.
or show it. I don't know if you can show it.
I can go grab a few bottles. Yeah,
Oh,
some of
cool.
my nicer bottles.
Sure.
Do
And
I have a hair routine? Uh, kind of. There's stuff that I like to do with it, but right now I just woke up and this is how it is.
yes,
It's got some natural curl to it. But yeah, I have my typical products that I like to use.
the hair is glorious. The hair.
Thank you. Don't sleep on hair product.
No, I don't, but mine's slowly ebbing away. So
My
such
favorite color is probably blue. I say probably because it just depends on my mood. Blue.
such luscious, crazy. Uh, effortless perfection.
Hold on, I'll go grab a couple of bottles.
All right, Gage has some admirers in chat. So I appreciate you all being here, as always, by the way. And like I said, I will get to your all's poems, and I'll have a bunch. Where is the beard? I shaved it. I shaved it spicy. There was crazy at the very beginning. He's talking about playing Halo competitively and LAN parties and stuff like that. So you can always check out the past broadcasts. But spicy, what ended up happening was Mommy On went in for uh, surgery for skin cancer, and she had a place on her nose that they were working on, and then a place on her chin. And so, uh, yeah, yeah, being in the military and stuff. Um, and anyways, so um, they were doing like biopsies and surgery, and taking away tissue and stuff. So it was kind of like how people will cut their hair when somebody they know is going through chemotherapy. I just decided to shave the beard because one, she likes it better without the beard, and two, um, she it
All right.
just kind of made her feel better. Okay.
Hold on, let me catch up with the questions before I do this. Let's see. What's my favorite dog breed? That's a difficult question. I'll give you one of them. How about that? Alaskan Malamute.
Oh yeah, they're so cute. Very derpy type dogs. They're very adorable.
Was there any talk about Gage's history with FPS? Yeah, there was. I would say I started playing GoldenEye. That's pretty standard for most people. Oh, sorry, I have a dog at my feet.
Oh, okay. Speaking of which, wait, can you show Pupper, or can you not move the? Oh, oh, he's so cute. What's the dog's name?
Dova.
Dova. Oh, she or he?
She.
She. That is adorable.
All right, so yeah, history with FPS. Started off with GoldenEye. Um, Perfect Dark was the big one. I used to come home after school, and me and my friend would play Perfect Dark multiplayer with like all the weird bots all day long. That's what really started. Then it naturally progressed over into Halo, and yeah, that's where it all came from. As far as PC, I would say I kind of got my aiming skills from League, honestly, which is really weird, but geez, I preferred Perfect Dark. Yeah, Perfect Dark was much better. It's just a more refined version. Best maps, best guns, best multiplayer. Unless you're talking about like four people split screen. All right, on to whiskey. I have 4 bottles with it.
Okay.
I'm one of those people I like to seek out strange flavors and I like to taste the finer things in life. I'd much rather spend more money on a smaller amount of something that's like special or memorable than get quantity. Um, so yeah, that kind of led into my interest in whiskey. I don't know if anybody is familiar with any of this. I'll look Ninny up. Ninny up is. We have Ardbeg,
Okay.
So I could get into this, I guess. There's
Yeah,
different
sure.
regions in Scotland, and this one is Isla. It's they use peat to make their whiskey, and it kind of gives it like a sweet, smoky flavor.
Hmm.
So all the different regions in Scotland, they make their whiskey like a different way, and
Okay.
that's they have their own named regions. Like it's like a super serious thing. And so usually, like if you're looking for a whiskey, you can typically look for like the region it's made in for like a specific type of profile. Obviously, the different flavors are going to vary depending on what they use. So the Ardbeg is an Islay whiskey. This is also an Islay whiskey. It's one of my favorites. Um, Lagavulin. I don't know if anybody's seen Parks and Rec,
Yes.
but this is what Ron Swanson likes. This is his favorite. And I actually have a Ron Swanson edition, which is kind of a gimmick, but I had to try it.
Is it any good?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
It is very good. I think it's gone actually. What's the difference between quality whiskeys? Um, a lot of it has to do with like more flavors put together. Like I recently went home, for example, and I didn't bring quite this, but something similar. And my friend grabbed the bottle from me and just turned the bottle up and took a swig, and he ended up throwing up everywhere. But it's really good whiskey. But he had never tried anything like that. He's used to drinking like really crappy alcohol, and there were just so many flavors packed into that sip that he took. His stomach could not handle it, and yeah, so you really have to like kind of like savor in your mouth and let the flavors separate, and that's kind of like the whole appreciation of whiskey. Let me see if I missed anything before I move on. Still got a couple more bottles. Mm, I guess that's it. Anyway, this specific region, the Isla region,
Mhm.
that's my favorite type. That's the one that uses the peat and makes it really smoky, like a campfire. It's got a very campfire flavor and kind of taste. So if you ever hear single malt Scotch whiskey, that's what they mean by single malt. Like it's going to come from one of the regions.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like how was it champagne only comes from certain regions or something like that, or what?
I know nothing about champagne.
Okay, I could be completely wrong then. Never mind. I don't know a whole lot about uh about alcohol and stuff like that. I thought it was champagne.
Yeah, I had my typical like
Now,
college drink crappy stuff,
now,
and
now bourbon I do know has to come from Kentucky. So,
yes, actually have a good bourbon too.
oh, cool.
So malt isn't a brewing process. Malt is the type of um, grain they use. Well, it's not grain. You can use grain, and that'll be like a single grain whiskey, and then you have malt.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess it is a brewing process. It's distilled, not brewed. I mean, it's the same thing, but if you use that around like a master distiller, they would be offended. All right, so this is a special bottle.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody's heard of Johnny Walker.
Yep.
Um, so Johnny Walker, they don't make their own.
What was that you cut out right there?
Did I cut out?
Mhm.
I said they don't make their own whiskey.
Okay.
So they get different barrels from different distillers, and then they make a blend and bottle it.
Okay.
So they just buy their barrels, and you can actually do this. Like I could buy a barrel from a distiller. I've actually talked about doing it. It's like $5,000 to get a whole barrel, and you can choose what to do with it. You can move it around in the different casks and let it age and kind of make your own whiskey. It's really cool. It is expensive, but honestly, like if you get like four friends and it's like $1,000 a piece, then it's not that bad. I mean, it's still $1,000, but it'd
Yeah.
be cool. It'd be cool to just do. All right.
Right.
So this is a Johnny Walker Blue. This is like the highest grade stuff they have.
Okay.
This is a Year of the Rat edition bottle.
That's awesome. Holy crap.
Yeah.
That is really, really cool.
This is more of like a collector's thing.
Right. Something you might not open. But I
Hey,
mean,
I
whiskey
won't
just,
ever
I
open
mean,
this.
whiskey lasts forever, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it'll eventually oxidize if you open it. And it does change the flavor the longer it's been opened.
Oh, okay. What's your
But
favorite?
it's not a bad thing, though.
What's your favorite to kind of, I guess, casually drink? So, like, you wouldn't worry about necessarily not opening the bottle or collecting it or.
Um, that's a hard question because it can get expensive. I would say this Lagavulin 16 year is one that I wouldn't mind opening right now, actually. But I just kind of have it like put aside for like whenever somebody comes along and they're like, somebody that appreciates it. I don't want somebody coming over here just taking shots of it. That's not how you do it.
I'll be stopping by soon.
I've actually had that happen before where like I bought a bottle for my friend. And I said, don't open it yet. You keep that. I'll bring my bottle and we'll share some. And then I brought my stuff and turns out he's like, oh no, I already tried it. I took a swig out of the bottle that you bought me. Gosh, like what a waste of money. And I'll never buy that guy any whiskey ever again. And he's not allowed to drink anything that I have unless it's like the like worst stuff I have.
the well, the well alcohol. Um, isn't here? Oh my God, Vidiot! Swear to God.
Game of Thrones thing. I have the entire Game of Thrones collection. It's not really a collection anymore, but
I have
yeah,
I have a
cool.
T-shirt. If I still had it, I would send it to you because I think you'd appreciate it a lot more. It was from T Fury, but it was a Game of Thrones design. It said Baratheon Brew, and it was Stag Liquors. It was the um, oh, that's awesome. That is really, really. I mean, it's a beautiful box and container too. Um, but it was Baratheon Brew House, like Stag Liquors and all that stuff, and it had like the Baratheon, the stag symbol, that our emblem that they have, their filigree, and it was absolutely phenomenal. It was a great shirt, and then I got fat and I couldn't wear it anymore. So
Yeah, actually, I think I just deleted the tweet because I need to retake the picture because I finally completed the whole Game of Thrones collection
oh,
as
did
far
you?
as the whiskey. Yeah, and I was gonna say you could just go to Twitter to see it, but I don't think you can. Anyway, I would go get that, but there's just too many bottles. I just kind of picked out a few.
Oh, that's okay. You're
This
in
is the
the.
last one I have. What's up?
I was gonna say you're in the Discord, right? You can always post them in the Discord if you.
That's true. Yeah, this one is Glenlivet,
Hmm.
21 year. All right, so 21 years is how long it's aged in the barrel.
Okay.
Obviously, whiskey ages in the barrel instead of out. So when they pull it out of the barrel, however long it's been in there, that's the number they usually use. Now they're starting to get to the point where they're called non-age statements, where they don't tell you how long it's been. So they can honestly just be serving you cheap stuff that's been aged maybe a couple of years and charging, something that's worth around like an 18-year, but you would never know. And it's a big controversy right now.
Sounds
And
like
I'm more
olive
about
oil.
like if it's good, I'll drink it, but still, I don't want to pay like 120 bucks for something that was aged 5 years. It's pretty shitty, but I
Right.
would never know, I guess. Um, I believe this is a space side whiskey, which uses a very light smoke. I don't think they use, maybe if they do, it's a very light sweet peat or something. But yeah, those are like all my nicer bottles. I have a couple more in there, but I just got a few.
You should do
Doesn't
a whiskey curating stream. Like
Oh, like a
just talk about liquors and stuff like that. Whiskey.
I've thought about it. The only thing is like I do well with like kids watching, and I don't really, because you never really know the age of your audience,
Right.
not for sure. And I would I would hate to find out that I have like a bunch of like 12-year-olds and I'm like promoting, oh yeah, go get this whiskey, even though it's not really that big of a deal. But if somebody's parents saw that, they'd be like, ugh, you know.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, you could always do it like I could. Well, Vidiot, this kind of explains the sense of humor. No, I'm joking. Vidiot's like, I'm never coming back now. Goodbye forever. Vidiot's threatened several times to leave and never come back if I don't give him a mod. Um, but we we all know how that would go for my stream. Uh, um, but I offered you VIP, Vidiot, and you turned me down. Mm-mm-mm. Um, okay, does anybody else have any more questions? Oh, wait 1 minute. Okay, well, if nobody has any more questions, I guess. How's Conor McGregor's whiskey? Okay.
I've actually never tried it, but I've heard good things about it. The only thing is, like with the celebrity whiskey, or not whiskey, celebrity anything, as far as alcohol, it's usually way overpriced
Yeah.
for obvious reasons.
Um, Ryan Reynolds has a was it vodka? I think he's got a vodka. Um,
I would love to get into like the whiskey business, but obviously I don't have that kind of money,
yeah. Um,
and it would take a long time to actually like start producing.
yeah. When you talk about stuff 20 years later, you'll be like, you know,
Oh dang it! It turned out like shit. Oh well,
we'll start it again.
my son will be in debt. Help me.
The familial business. Um, but what's our business model, Dad? Debt, son, debt. Uh, so, all right. Well, we're nearing the 2 hour mark, so um, I know that that you did have some stuff you were looking to do. So this has been, as always, an awesome experience, Gage. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
And you can corner the distillation market on Twitch. Yeah. You know, the thing about it is, if you could actually show how a brewery ran and stuff like that, I feel like that would be pretty badass. Like, I'm not even that much into alcohol, and I think that would be really cool.
That
Um,
that would be like actually super cool. Now that I think about it.
so, but yeah, I think, I think once you figure out kind of your stride, and that is the hardest thing I think on Twitch.
Yeah, what do you offer that no one else does?
Yeah, especially in the beginning, because XQC can play 300 different games. It doesn't matter at this point now. People are coming there because he's established himself. But when you're starting out and all that stuff, you kind of do have to navigate what you're doing and what you're playing, because no matter what you're doing, you're going to be at the bottom of the list. And if you're at the bottom of 30,000 people, nobody's ever going to discover you. So that is difficult. But I sincerely hope that you are able to get past it, the creative hump that you're in right now. And I know all about writer's block and stuff like that because I think that you as a person definitely have a lot of value to bring to any community and any stream that he's in, whether it's somebody else's or whether it's his own. So again, I want to thank you so much.
Such a sweetheart.
I want to thank you so much for being here. I want to thank everybody for showing up. Um, it was awesome to have people interacting and the questions and all that stuff. And as always, um, I know that obviously I appreciate it, but I know that the guest obviously appreciates it as well. Um, not to speak for them, but having people show up and support is always something that is welcome. So with that being said, we are going to do as tradition dictates. Gage, were you going to stream?
I can.
Well, that's completely up to you. If you were going to stream, I'm going to send everybody your way. If not, we're going to let you pick who we raid.
Yeah, I can stream.
Okay. Well, if you
I will play something by myself just for this, okay?
okay, well, if you want to um if you want we can go ahead and I don't know if it's gonna if your internet will let you still be in this Discord call and set up your stream, or if that's gonna interfere with anything. I don't know if you had to end the Discord call or not.
Maybe because it's using my webcam.
Okay, cool. Well, if you wanna go ahead and do that, I will wait for you to start, and I will send everybody over your way.
All right. Thanks, Yanni. Thanks, yawners. And hopefully I'll see you guys in a bit.
So, yep. Oh, thanks so much, buddy. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Take it
So,
easy.
later. Okay. Oh, okay. That got really intense. Um, okay. So, uh, everybody, tomorrow, we are gonna have forgiving. On forgiving is a top 500. Again, I think as I said before, he's like ranked 30 or something right now. He's a 4600 peak Overwatch player. He does educational videos, coaching. He got partnered not too long ago, and all around, he's an awesome person, and he is really, really invaluable to the Overwatch community with the services he provides for, again, coaching and bot review. And yeah, just all around a great guy. Had a lot of good experiences talking to him and stuff. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to Gage once he turns on his stream, and I'll send you all that way. But in the meantime, um, let's see on the agenda for coming up. I actually said that we were going to have Community Day on Monday. We are not going to be able to have Community Day this week, and the reason is because they're going to redo our roof. And I have no idea when they're doing that, and I have no idea when I'm going to be able to stream because I'm not going to stream while you basically hear, on the roof all day long, okay? Because I'm not going to be able to concentrate at all. So we will. Oh. Okay, kind of skipped a little bit. We will hold off on Community Day until the week after or something like that. But we'll definitely do some stuff for Halloween. Definitely, definitely. The week of Halloween, I might actually just do all horror games, not do Overwatch. Um, that might be what I go with. I haven't decided. But at any rate, uh, yeah, thank you all so much for being here. You guys are wonderful as always, and absolutely adore you all. So thank you so much. And let's see if he has gone live. I can't see if he's gone live yet. Yes. Well, Phasmophobia, we're definitely going to play very, 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 very soon. Just kind of have to figure out when we can coordinate with other people. Sorry, I was just checking something real quick. All right, he went live, so we're gonna send you all over there. What do I spam? Spam whatever you want, Vidiot, because I know you're gonna do that anyways. So, all right. As always, everybody, for those of you who aren't in the Discord, please feel free to join. There's the Twitter. Please be or feel free to follow along. And let's see here. Anything else? Oh, and here's the raid message. If you don't already have something you want to do. So, anyways, we'll see you all tomorrow night. I think I'm gonna stream beforehand since I won't be able to stream consistently next week. Thankfully, they're gonna have the roof finished within the week. They've already got all the stuff out front. Uh, so I'm gonna kind of stream sporadically throughout the week. So I think we will do tomorrow. We'll do a stream before Forgivings. I don't know exactly when though, but I'll definitely post in the Discord. And again, I'll have everybody's poems done by tomorrow for sure. Uh, and that's pretty much it. So everybody, make sure to say hi to Gage. Stay around. He's an awesome person if you haven't had a chance to see him stream yet. Love you all, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.